So, Nick, we are now at Genesis 32, the story of Jacob and Esau, and they're reuniting, and there's all kinds of things going on in that chapter, family drama, wrestling with God.
Yes. And
it's a relevant topic for us as we deal with some of the same things.
Yeah. The story as it takes shape in verse 32, which is all a result of something that's been a conflict since their birth, but really has come out of Jacob's dealing with his family and his brother Esau in manipulating and deceiving to get a family inheritance. All of that results in a conflict in which he flees his homeland and goes back to his father's homeland. And he's gone for years. We're talking 20 plus years. And now God has called him back. Back to, I guess, reunite with his brother, back to the homeland. And a lot has changed in the meantime. And now, on his way back, he sends word to his brother sends word back to him. And there is about to be a conflict, a war. At least that is what is in his mind. And he thinks that his brother is coming to kill him, and that's what his brother told him he was going to do. But that's not what happens. But in the midst of this conflict, what we actually find is that there's a conflict with God. And this is such a picture of Jacob's life. And right in the midst of this story is Jacob's wrestling physically with God himself. Boy, what can we take from that story? Well, my first thought is, isn't it true that every single one of our conflicts within is really not a conflict between like you and me or between me and someone else? It's really a conflict between me and God. Isn't that true?
Yeah. We know what God says. It's clear. And yet we want to put these qualifiers in there. If God says this, or maybe that was related to another time frame, but not to me or to us. We wrestle with God in lots of ways.
Yeah. And so I want us to think as we go through this story, as it of course relates to Jacob and Esau. But I want us to reflect on how we fight with God, how we wrestle against his word, against his will for our life, against his plans, his purposes, and how sometimes we're even willing to either justify certain sins in our lives or even push back against God, a loving and gracious God, because we think that maybe this way is better or that our way is better. I want us to reflect on that ourselves personally. And I want us to see how God changes Jacob's heart through the wrestling.
Yeah.
And transforms his life to such an extent that he gives him a new name. And that's what this story is really all about.
Yeah. And that we would allow the Lord to have his way rather than fighting against him, yes. A good and loving God. And we resist him in so many ways. But his ultimate desire is to transform us from the inside. And that's what we see. That's going to be a great study.